What up, boss?
What up, Izzy Ice? How you feeling?
Man, how you?
I'm good. I'm blessed. How about yourself?
Blessings on blessings on blessings.
No doubt. Thank you for joining me this evening.
It's all good, family. You know what I'm saying? It was nothing. I had to.
No doubt. We're going to let some people log on while we're waiting on people to join us. Can you tell me what's going on, where you're at as far as the COVID goes and protesting? What's the scenario like where you're at?
I'm going to tell you like this, fam. I mean, which angle we want to come from first? Because both of them are terrible. One has been around much longer than COVID has. You
Right.
know, so I want to probably say that one for last, because boy, can I expound on that problem, right? But as far as COVID, it was spooky because, for what it's worth, I didn't even know what the story was, like nobody else did. And like, I had just dropped a single. I was getting ready to do a little promo tour and all of that. And at the end of the day, everything stopped. We had like one of the last shows in New York City, you know, and I got shout out to all my fallen soldiers. Shout out to everybody that has a family member or somebody that was affected by that, because
No doubt.
that is something, man. You
No
know,
doubt.
yes. You know, the worst part about it to me was like I'm pretty acclimated in my hood, and you know, I'm from Flatbush, Brooklyn, so a lot of folks respect the boy, you know, for more reasons than one, you know. And I say that to say this: I used to see them assembling on the corner, and at first I was like, you know, I'm gonna look like I'm just trying to scold them, but I had to look past that and be like, yo, bro, we gotta stop, because it's not just you. It could be moms. It could be like that little auntie that held you down the whole, you know, time that you were growing up, and you bringing it back to her because you physically fit, you rocking, but she may suffer from all these underlying situations. Feel me? So that was sickening. So I had to step up to the plate and step outside of my comfort zone and talk to them about that. Now, as far as the racism, as far as the uprisings that's taking place, that's a whole different bowl of wax, because not only has it been going on forever, right? But the problem that I'm having is the folks that's trying to condone the behavior. In other words, like when they hear people say stuff like, you know, you gotta defund the police and, you know, do stuff like that. To me, you gotta, if it's a bully, you can't be nice to a bully. You know, that's how I learned in my world.
Right.
If someone's a bully, I can't be, come up to you and be like, you know, I was wondering if you could just stop, you know, potentially just picking on me. That doesn't work like that. You know? So you have to turn it up a notch and make everybody uncomfortable, because at the end of the day, we're paying tax dollars to make sure that they're on deck and all that, and they kill you off of your money. That's a double whammy. You're getting smacked in the face. So I don't agree that they should stop having a police department. Now, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, because that's crazy lawlessness that's going to take place. I know how it goes down. Okay, but what I'm saying is, it's like the same dudes who be like, oh, fuck the police and all that. The same time they get in trouble, the first person they call is the police.
Right.
I've seen it. All right. So my point is, you got to have a better vetting process. You get a better vetting process, then it just like kind of like stops the press on the negative ones that's going to be out here taking advantage. Because it's like the same thing I mentioned about a bully. Like, how do you make a bully insane? You take their power away from them. Because like growing up, I've always been like a bit of like the bully's bully, you know? So like, you know, I wasn't the freshest kid, you know, growing up with Haitian parents. They wasn't buying Jordans. They were just making sure I was clean. So I had a tough one, right? And I say that to say this. You make them go insane. So for everybody to feel like it's a thing that we're doing right now, it's good. It's a look. We're doing it. However, they're going to lose their minds because the bully's power is being taken away from them. And that's the name of the game. It ain't the good cops. I have cops that I know personally that I either grew up with or whatever. They're decent. I'm talking about like the guys that just like they grew up in a weird neighborhood, never grew up around a black person, underlying, you know, hating on black people. What they see is what they get on television, and now you're going to patrol my neighborhood?
Right.
doesn't make sense. And there's a bigger part of that where we got to teach our younger kids, you know, how to politic. Because like when they come at you all crazy, you got to be able to just be like diffuse that almost. You got to have a certain level of, you know, dialogue that could just diffuse it, make it seem like maybe this guy's a police person's son. Maybe this person is a mayor's son. You know what I mean?
Right.
That type of thing. What's your sentiment on it? How you feel about it?
Man, I think at the end of the day, if we would have just made examples of the Rodney King guys to send a message, like basically when that was caught on videotape and we said those guys were acquitted and innocent, that just sent a message to other cops to you could be videotaped and still do what you want to do and nothing's going to happen.
All day long.
So I'm not sure if that was actually the first time that was caught on video, the Rodney King.
That was probably the first time caught on video.
Okay. So that message, and if we would have just nipped that, if we would have just nipped that in the bud then,
yeah,
I think things would have been different. But when you just go and things happen on video and nothing happens, it just sends a message that it's okay. And it's going to be with their word over, you know, the victim. So I think with this, this recent incident, if we don't make an example out of these guys,
yeah,
it's going to be ugly, you know. So right now's the time.
You're onto it because I'm telling you, it's not going to be like a situation that's all rosy. There's too much. The energy is too big right now.
Right.
You know, like people when they gave him a bail, all right, for like a milli, I'm sitting there like, you know how many people are going to be some racist people that's going to put that 100,000, $125 up for him just to prove a point? Of course they will. All right. So like I was saying to myself, like if it were a black man, would he have gotten bail? Think about it. He turned the country upside down, right? Turned the country upside down. He turned around, made a massive protest during the pandemic. We just talked about COVID. So we got a massive protest during the pandemic. It was almost to the point where I was like, you know, and I try to stay away from conspiracy theories. I just have to, right? And I was like, damn, what a better way to kill a whole lot of people than to do something like this and then turn around and make the masses just lose their noodle.
Right.
Yeah. You know, so I was born at night, but not last night. You know what I'm talking about? Real rap.
I appreciate getting your thoughts on what's going on in the world today. We're going to get into a little history for everybody joining on right now. This is Hip Hop Lessons, formerly Quarantine Sessions, episode 42. I am with no other than Izzy Ice of The King and I. Thank you for joining us, family.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's my pleasure, man. Real rap.
No doubt. I appreciate you.
I seen you did a lot of good things too, man. So I was like watching him, and I was like, yeah, the brother is real. You know that you got a name called Sin-seer, so it's right. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know how life imitates art, a name imitates itself too. So
exactly.
You did what you had to do out here.
Thank you. Appreciate that. You mentioned earlier you're from Brooklyn. Can you take us back to early days growing up in Brooklyn?
Well, sometimes I think of the days when I used to be broke and so smoke, moving dope and coke. It's no joke, it's no hope. I was there broke in Brooklyn. Heads bubble krills on the strip. The spot's hot. Wet crooked cops to the hip. Make them hot. You don't stop. It's gang bang boogie. That's the type of thing I grew up around. You know, like I grew up in a world where all this nonsense was still taking place. Crooked cops. They want to take the drug dealers' drugs. Okay, they didn't want to arrest them and probably plant things on them. So like that's what that's pretty much it. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't identify with why we have that sentiment about fuck the police. Right? But you just can't say that, right? But wait. Let me not try to be politically correct about it because you're entitled to your own opinions, right? But what I'm saying is like, at the end of the day, bro, you know, they brought it onto themselves. You know, like it's like this. Like, see how a person prejudges a black man when they see you with your Yankee hat on, you know, he's coming through with a black t-shirt, white t-shirt, whatever. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, one of those, based on what they saw on television. So based on what we saw on television, right? Most cops are crooked. Based on what I saw in Flatbush, Brooklyn, most cops are crooked. Okay, and that's just how I feel. However, they're here for a reason.
What kind of what kind of obstacles did you have to endure growing up in Brooklyn, if any?
You know what? It was a weird thing because you see how right now everybody is like, talking about the Haitian culture in reference to getting the, first black nation against independence. You know, we whipped Napoleon's, you know what, with no weapons. The phrase was, whoever's dead is dead, they dead. You know, this is what, that's another story. But it was just weird because we grew up in a time where people would really have to fist fight, to get around and make sure that their presence was felt, like you just can't thug me out and all that. But then after a while, everybody started getting guns. The gangs started a long time before the Crips and the Bloods came to New York. Way before that, it was different gangs. So, and it was drama for you to be like, I'm going to school. And now, hey, let's take it one step further, okay? I remember specifically when I moved from the 20 side of Flatbush to the 40 side, I grew up around Irish and Italians, right? They were not like some soft white boys that, we probably think because whoever worked in corporate America met the Long Island guys that grew up a certain way and all that. No, these dudes were goons, okay? We had it out with them growing up in Flatbush, Brooklyn. I'm talking about, when I say had it out, the worst way possible. Bats, everything. Things I don't want to talk about, a lot. And at the end of the day, that's what kind of cultivated the atmosphere of being a man, being tough, being able to defend yourself, being able to stand for something. Because I'm sitting here like 10 years old, and these people are shooting guns at us. Things that you never hear talk about on you probably never heard about it because it wasn't even available at the time. All right? But as far as like the media, like social media and cameras, it wasn't available at the time. But we're talking about you go on a certain block and there's like 40 long-haired Iron Maiden t-shirt, long white boys coming for your neck, and then later on that night, it's a situation, bro. So here's the worst part about it to me: the whole Brooklyn dynamic. As I could take it into different portions of time, but I'm speaking about one specific part of it, which I think is important. Was that not only were we fighting for our own survival because the white guys didn't want us in their neighborhoods, right? But we were also fighting against our own people because poverty was real. So we're sitting here like, damn, bro, which way do we go? One of those.
Right.
Yeah, which way do we go? Like you got drama here, drama there. It was crazy, man.
Can you remember, as a teen growing up in Brooklyn, what was some of your musical influences before you got into rap? What were you listening to?
Anything that had to do with breakdancing. I used to pop and all that, and I used to listen to all the Planet Rocks, everything, everything. Before even Joe Ski Love, Pee Wee Herman, like anything that came leading up to that point. And then what was funny and how I kind of like started getting into the music was just that. I liked, there's 5 elements of hip hop. So of course I did the graffiti, I did it all. I just didn't DJ, right? But at the end of the day, I used to pop. I used to then turn that popping into dancing when Steezo came with EPMD and he turned that thing upside down with his thing. Shout out to all of my heads in the bush too, because they know what that is. And I got into it. I was gonna dance. I was gonna dance for Salt and Pepper.
Oh, word. What happened with that situation?
Then all of a sudden, I started rapping and taking it seriously, and I got a lane that opened up where I signed up. Yo, don't take me off live after this, man. This is all right. So
we're here for the stories.
Boogie Down Productions, BDP is my guys. Like I don't know them personally, even though I signed up with another label, Jive Records, that we got hooked up again with. But I'm just saying, like, I liked them so much, and that was my influence. Then all of a sudden, I signed up with Bad Boy Records, the original Bad Boy Records. at age 15. So I signed a contract that wasn't even legal. And they holding my information and everything, and I'm like, yo, how do I come out? You know, I'm coming out. So me and my partner Majesty, we went back to the record label because we know we're from Brooklyn. We was kind of wild. We went back to the record label. We stormed it. It was like, yo, give us our contracts. You know, blah blah blah. We got the contract back. It meant nothing. It wasn't even legal anyway. You know, so I was knee deep into any kind of hip hop. Kane, major influence. Funny story was all right, Ill and Out Skratch, right? We had a talent show. Me and my man Cap, we had a talent show at Sheepshead Bay High School. Bro, I thought I was so ill. Me and Cap, we both thought we was like, what? God made Izzy and Cap, and then he made the earth. That's what, you know, when you're young and dumb, you feeling like, you know, God.
Right.
So boom, all of a sudden my man bought Al Skratch, Ill Skratch over there to come and battle us. Right before I get on stage, I battle Ill and Al. I battle Ill. He ate both me and my man alive. Okay? Things changed later on down the line. It wasn't going down like that anymore. But that was the turning point for me, because you see that style that I cultivated after that? If it wasn't for me getting my ass handed to me by that guy, I would have never switched into that whole different vibe, the whole style of what I started getting into.
Right.
Big L's nice. Yeah, he is nice. He is nice. Hell yeah, no question. You know, but I'm saying, though, they taught me a new one, because he had a whole different vibe, a whole different wave coming at me and my man Cap.
Right.
And I'm keeping it a buck. I'm one of the rare ones that tell you I got eaten alive, and then that turned my whole life around.
You mentioned Majesty earlier on in the conversation. Can you take us back to how you guys linked up?
Say what?
You and Majesty. You mentioned his name. Can you take us back to how you guys?
Oh, yeah. That's like that neighborhood stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm on one block, he's on the next block. He played basketball. He was popular in the neighborhood, and I was popular for rapping, you know, and stuff like that. He was like one of the best DJs. Period. He came up under another dude that was very serious too. And so, at the end of the day, everybody was like, get connected. You're dope. He's dope. Y'all could be something. And that's what happened, you know. And we became real good friends. And, you know, it was a natural course of progression between us. Chemistry.
What kind of dues did you two pay before the recording came into a play? What did you guys have to go through in order to become the King and I?
You really gonna ask that question? Listen, hold up. Not that question. All right. So I'm gonna answer it anyway, because I promise everybody I'll answer all questions. All right. Besides my social security number. But it starts with a 0. Just kidding. So long story short was, we went through all the pain of like going to bad neighborhoods, different neighborhoods, and getting into problems, you know, with the people from the neighborhood, you know. And at the end of the day, you had to do what you had to do to get through those things. So, you know, we just, wherever there was a producer, we didn't know any better. That's where we were at. So we're from Brooklyn, and of all places, we own the Eden Wall Project. Okay, and I don't know if you know what Eden Wall Project was about, but you see all those trucks that was in those Suzuki Samurais that KRS-One had in that legendary album cover?
Yeah.
Those were his peoples right there, right? And it was a situation. So we used to have to go over there on a constant basis to mess with this dude named Miracle Mike.